Gay men, I think of irresponsible gay sex.
Dresses well.
Likes to dress just so.
Very good dresser.
Fashion, being very interested in fashion.
Dresses well.
Has a list.
Has a lisp.
Loud, speaks loudly.
And he kind of talks like this.
Someone with a lisp.
Has a high-pitched voice.
Very flamboyant.
Flaming.
Very feminine, very passive.
Flamboyant in everything he wears. Like he would wear this color and then he would like tell everyone about it and like where he bought it and all of that.
That's not what I think, but that's the stereotype.
It's a terrible, terrible stereotype.
What you have just watched was 7 NKU theater students responding to what they thought were the general stereotypes of gay men in our society. Julia and I then proceeded to ask these students questions about what it is like for homosexuals in the theater department, in Cincinnati, at Northern Kentucky University, and in life.
I think that theater often, because it focuses so much on, improving yourself as a human being and working on making yourself as best of a human as you can be, that it teaches you to be very accepting and patient and open-minded to things, because I don't think that you can pursue art or any kind of creative form without being open-minded and without accepting other things and being able to absorb things that you're not used to.
Anywhere where you are around a lot of artists, I think that being artistic and thinking artistically pretty much entails thinking outside of the box.
I don't think actors should be scared of being something different than what they are. So I guess my thinking leans toward the idea that if you're allowed to be anybody else, then you should be allowed to be yourself, more so than in any other situation. And I think the theater tends to draw people who don't feel necessarily comfortable in areas where they can't fully, explore and know themselves the best way possible. And the theater encourages creativity and discussion and different takes on, previously held perspectives. So in essence, it's a profession of constant change. So more than any other profession, I would assume that theater is more open to homosexuality.
We have all kinds of weird people in our profession, so we get used to people's differences, and when we're on stage we have to become other people, so I think it's easier for us to walk in other people's shoes and understand what they go through.
I was brought up in a conservative family, and my parents are what you could call homophobic, but when I was in about 9th grade, my sister came out, my stepsister actually, but I think of her as a sister. She came out, and we had a bunch of conversations about it, and she really changed my views on it. And it wasn't like I really had a view, it was just ignorance, because I had never been exposed to homosexuality. I was afraid of it, and it was something foreign to me, and just like anybody else, when something is foreign, we tend to not want to explore it.
I was always taught that you judge a human being by their character and by how they carry themselves around you and how they treat you and how you treat them, not by their color or what they wear or their race or their religion or anything like that. So no matter whether you're talking about religion or sexual orientation or anything like that, I'm really not afraid of those things, because my parents were just always taught me that you just can't be ignorant and hate someone for something so simple as that.
What it says in the Bible about marriage being specifically a union between a man and a woman. And that is what I believe. But since coming into the theater department and knowing that this is what I love to do, even though that is what I believe, I still respect other people's lifestyle choice. It's not that I agree with it, because I still have my views that I was brought up with, but that does not mean that I try and push my views on other people.
People who are homophobic, I guess, are few and far between in this department, because you come in contact with so many different types of people that even if you come into the department thinking that homosexuality is wrong, which I don't believe it is, but if you do, you're around homosexual people all the time, and you realize that they're a person just like everybody else. Just because they don't practice the same things as you do doesn't mean that they're wrong.
When I first came to college, I knew maybe 2 gay people from high school, and I was kind of like, whoa, what's that? And now it's my best friends are gay, and it's totally normal to me.
I don't think that at any point I had any fears regarding homosexuality. I never really thought about it until, oddly enough, when Ellen DeGeneres came out on her sitcom, which is a way I think a lot of people my age at the time seriously might have heard about homosexuality for the first time. And it didn't bother me. It didn't really strike me as being, abnormal or strange. And also I was lucky enough to go to a high school where there was one out gay student, and by being friends with him, I learned that, despite the fact that there is fear coming from all directions, you don't have to be afraid, and you can do whatever you want. And it's all about owning up and saying, yeah, something bad could happen, or someone might resent me for doing what I want to do, but I'd like to think that I've taken that lesson and applied it to the rest of my life. So, no, at no point do I think I had any reservations about coming out of the closet. I did that in my junior year of high school, which is a very early time. And because of that, I think I've been able to become comfortable with myself over a longer period of time than most.
My brother came out of the closet his junior year in college, so I was a senior in high school. And I remember being confused, but still remembering like he's obviously the same person, nothing's changed, and that there's nothing wrong with it. If someone decides that they're gay, why should they be persecuted?
As far as NKU goes, I really don't think it's, a person should be afraid of being homosexual. In Cincinnati, there's of course the artsy areas, or there's the areas that are much more liberal and open to any kind of lifestyle or any kind of orientation. And of course, there's going to be other places where it's very conservative and people are going to be closed-minded and maybe a little ignorant.
It's a very dangerous place that we live in because we seem to be surrounded by more conservative people. It all depends on the person and how comfortable they feel in their own skin. I think that people around here need to be more accepting of people who are different than them. Being gay is no different than being white or black. I believe it's how you're born, and it's in you. It's not something that you can change.
It's not a decision, they're just being themselves. Because no one, I believe, chooses to be gay. I feel that they are born to be gay. Because definitely in the society we live in, why would someone choose such a hard path? Because socially, it's obviously not easy in the big scheme of things to be gay. And that's why I think a lot of people that enjoy the theater, because there is that level of acceptance.